recently released movies, ridiculously hot foods, Blazin buttholes next morning.
Hi guys, welcome back to Blazin buttholes. We went and saw the movie
Ready Player One! Yay! Ready Player One! And this is a film that just came out this weekend, and it is directed by the one and only Steven Spielberg.
Who?
I know. Who's that guy again? What was all that stuff he did? Jurassic Park what? King Kong who?
Very indie.
Right? Only the hipsters know who Steven Spielberg is anymore. And I was impressed. I wasn't sure what to expect. You can go ahead and put that on back on.
You didn't notice that.
Didn't even happen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He's alright.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He directed things like Jurassic Park, King Kong.
I guess.
Didn't he co-direct like the original Star Wars with Lucas?
I think he might have been involved in that. Yeah.
But like, still like E.T. shit.
Yeah, all the best films since films, really.
Yeah. But then he hit like kind of that rough patch with like the first King Kong.
Yeah, he did struggle a tad bit in some movies.
They can't be
But
perfect all the time.
this one did not fail to impress. I was super impressed with Ready Player One. I wasn't sure what to expect. It looked just like a big jerk off of pop culture, and I thought that was its main selling point, and there was a lot more to it than that, and I was thoroughly surprised.
Yeah.
But before we get into the movie and talk about how we feel about it, we're doing Atomic Wings back to back. I like them so much that I wanted them to suffer with the atomic wings as well. So let's blow up one of these atomic wings. And we always use forks so we don't rub our face and get it in our eye. Cheers. You'll like it, I swear.
Sorry, I'm afraid.
Good gracious.
Why are you so mean to me?
How do you like them?
They're good. Punishing, but good.
Right? They are good, but man, they are hot. What do you think? We'll break down the movie first with the actors. Can you talk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the main male role is
His name's Ty Sheridan in the movie. He goes by Wade, and also his player name.
Z?
They called him Z, but it was
Some stupid
like
gamer tag name.
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't really
Mainly
matter.
He goes by Z.
Yep.
And I thought he was pretty amazing. He's been in, he was Cyclops in X-Men. And then he was also in the show Last Man Standing. And he has some other things he was in, but those are his most notable roles that I think people would know.
Yeah, I think the X-Men Apocalypse Cyclops would be
definitely.
the one where people would recognize him from the most.
The Boy Scouts zombie apocalypse movie that he was in was actually pretty good. Some Netflix good. Not movie good, but Netflix good.
Don't go and buy it. Just watch it on Netflix. And the co-star, the female lead, is Olivia Cookie. And she did a really good job too. The male role did a great job. Olivia Cookie did a good job. And she was in the TV. What TV show was she in again? Bates Motel, yeah. So she has 17 credits to her name as far as acting goes, but Bates Motel would probably be where you would recognize her from. She has like a breathing machine in that, right? Yeah. And so she played a really good character in it, and her avatar looked awesome. Yeah. I think she had the coolest avatar, within that world of the Oasis. Besides like the guys that were besides the guys that were like super crazy, like obviously not real, like she was like the main character and her character they looked like humanoid-ish, and the other people were like had a skull in his chest, and you could see through it, and another one was like mechanical. But as far as like humanoid type avatars, her avatar looked amazing. Yep. And then what about the bad guy there, Mr. Josh?
No fucking clue what his name is.
Ben? What?
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, Ben Mendelsohn. He's the main bad guy in this movie. He's also the main bad guy in Rogue One, where he was the guy that started building the Death Star and eventually kind of thrown under the bus near the end of that. But he did really well in this one. You know, not as serious of a role for sure, but still, you know, believable bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. And he has 77 acting credits, I believe. 77?
Yeah,
75?
He's probably the most experienced actor, or the actor with the most work experience for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely seasoned.
He's probably the actor that has the most dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the main character, but honestly, like a lot of the characters' acting was okay, but in this movie that doesn't really matter because the main characters aren't really in the movie that long. It's 90% avatars, which is a benefit to this movie. It's that all the CGI was like, I wasn't like, oh, it's just make believe. I don't care about these characters. I definitely liked the CGI versions of everyone more than the real actors, minus the bad guy. Thank you.
These are hot. Yeah, absolutely. And I think if I only had one complaint with the movie, that's like a non-spoiler complaint, it was like the acting in real life was not as good. It was still good, don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad acting. But the acting in real life was not as good as the acting in the Oasis, in the fake world.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. Like, that's the first time I've ever felt like that. You know, like in Avatar.
Yeah.
Like the acting of the actual all the people, you know, it felt like kind of cartoony in Avatar. And this, even though it was super cartoony, it didn't feel that way at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how they pulled that off. Like, it was very interesting. It makes me ponder. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe the make believe people had more facial emotions than the real ones.
It could be that they just put so much work into it that you can just, you know.
I got that child actor feel.
That what?
That child actor feel. Like, none of them were little kids, but, like, I got the feeling that, like, oh, they're still learning, you know?
Right, and part of me almost thinks that was done on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, because it's the whole idea of the movie, you know, it's like people aren't living in the real world anymore. You know, they're living in the Oasis. And I wonder if, okay, was it done on purpose? That
they just don't have those social
or
skills.
yeah, exactly. Like, do they just not have the social skills, and it just felt odd to us watching it, like they were child actors, or was that intentional? So it's curious. It's a good movie. It's a movie that
I really liked it. It was cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie that, you know, makes you think. It makes you reflect on society. Well, it doesn't make you if you feel like it. You know, it has a lot of societal factors within the movie, and you know, this isn't giving anything away. Everyone knows what this is by the trailers if you haven't seen the trailers, so spoiler if you haven't seen the trailers. But you know, everyone's basically living in a video game now, and what effects that have in the world and in the Oasis world, the video game world. And it was super cool. I really enjoyed it. What'd you think about the real world and the space world?
I want to live in the Oasis. I thought I totally agree that acting from the real world to the Oasis part of it was a lot different. I do think that, like, the emotions and everything were a lot more heightened as far as their animated characters. I just enjoyed the Oasis part of it because, I mean, when you see what the real world looks like in that aspect, it's not so pretty. And then in the Oasis, it's pretty much anything you could wish for. So that was my favorite part of it. It's pretty much like every kid's dream.
It was like a voluntary Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, it's like a voluntary matrix where your imagination is your limit, you know.
Yeah.
And they did a really well. They did a really good contrast. Dang. With the real world and having it be so depressing, and then going into the Oasis and having it just be amazing. Like all the visuals in the Oasis were so beautiful and vibrant, and even when they were like supposed to be like gritty and dark, it still felt vibrant and like it had so much character to it. And then you go to the real world and it's like, oh man, you know, like it's also plain and
Makes sense.
industrialistic and yeah. So I think they did a good job on it. You know, I didn't get bored at all.
Not at all. It did not feel like we were there for 2 hours and 20 minutes whatsoever.
Was it 2 hour and 20?
Yeah, that was a 2 hour and 20-minute long movie, and
So the middle part, I'm glad it happened, the slowdown.
yes,
But I definitely noticed. But like you can't tell if something's going quick unless you kind of slow down first. So
yeah. The second act where they kind of engage in like the love story of the movie, it slows down a lot. But it's super intentional. It's the character building part of it.
you didn't care about them.
Yeah, exactly. And I know when we got out of the movie, I was like, man, I did not feel like we were in here for almost 2.5 hours at all. Like, and for me to not get bored and want to look at my phone, you know, that doesn't happen that often. So it was super good. What did you think about the pacing?
I thought the pacing was perfect. I thought the heightened parts were done perfectly, and then the slowdowns were done perfectly to where it just kind of kept you wanting to go to that next act or the next scene, and I thought that was done really well.
No, I liked how one of the avatars was telling the lead character, because the lead character is like falling in love in the second act and everything, and one of his friends is like, you don't know if this is like a 300-pound man. Like, this could be someone who you don't even know. Like, you don't know if you're in love with this person. It's just an avatar.
Some guy named Chuck.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. One of the punchlines was, it could be some guy named Chuck. So, and it was just cool. It was a well-balanced mix of like it was a well-seasoned steak. You know what I mean? Like, it had a really good meat in it. And then they sprinkled it with humor. They sprinkled it with action, and none of it was overbearing, and it just went together so well. And man, this is one of the better movies I've seen in theaters in a while. Like, yeah, and it was definitely something we said right away. We're like, man, I kind of want to watch it again in the
I would
theater.
definitely go again.
So,
Yeah, the rewatchability, like just to see all, because it's like someone shoots you in the face with a cameo gun.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you notice one thing, you're gonna miss the other thing that's there because things happen at the same time. But it oddly wasn't overwhelming.
Right.
No.
In a weird way, I was, oh god.
Yes.
Oh, the peppers.
Yeah, those peppers are brutal on the atomic ones. But if we sat here and went through all the little cameos and Easter eggs, we'd probably be here for 4 hours.
Oh yeah.
You know, there was so much, and it was so cool, and you know, it was constantly happening. But it was like constantly happening during like a really good action scene. So it wasn't something where it would like, it's just a pickup and you see it and you're like, oh, that's cool. And the movie just keeps going. It doesn't like halter the movie a little bit or anything like that. There was one cameo where I was like, oh my gosh. And I kind of lost track of what was happening because it was so awesome. And I like started talking. But that's just because of the, what it was. I'm like a super nerd on what it was. So I got all juiced for it. But yeah, I mean, if we had to rate this movie just a 1 to a 5, what would you give it? Are you good to talk?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
That's on fire, but I'm good.
I'm sweating too, though.
It's when my throat's on fire, that's when we have the problem.
Right? So 1 to 5.
1 to 5?
Yeah.
Between 4 and 5, I'd have to stray more to 5.
Yeah.
Like,
Nice.
it was just enjoyable. Like, it had a couple neat ideas, but I mean, like, it was like just a good movie. And whatever loopholes or plot holes there were, I just didn't care.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would go 5.
You would go 5 too?
And I was
Yeah.
actually didn't even want to go see it.
Yeah, I know. You were like, I don't even want to see this. I was like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? This is okay.
I don't think there wasn't a moment I wasn't like smiling or laughing or throughout
Or
the
feeling
whole-
sad.
or- yeah,
It was
It
good.
covered all the bases. It was really enjoyable, and I haven't seen a movie like this that I've sat in the theater, have not messed with anything, or totally drifted out from the movie and was like, oh, this part, that whole movie, I was just like stuck on it. It was so good.
Yeah, it was. It was very good. And yeah, on the rating scale that I've mentioned here a few times, a 5 being go out and buy it on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
You like the week it comes out, and a B being I'm gonna watch it at least 5 times. A C is I'm probably not gonna watch it, but I'm glad I saw it in theaters, and and then go down from that where it gets negative. I'm for sure gonna go out and buy this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely giving it a 5. Yeah, there was like 2 or 3 issues that I had with it, but overall I didn't care about them. I was like, this movie was so good. And yeah, you can rewatch it over and over again, and I think it'll take a while for this movie to get old. Like, this movie might be up there, and this is saying a lot about this movie, and I might have to watch it a few more times before I can really commit to this. But this movie might be up there with like Fight Club for me on rewatchability. I'm not in
Maybe like
message
Avengers.
and things like that, but as far as me watching it over and over and over again, I've watched Fight Club like at least 20 to 50 times if I get serious.
It has apples and oranges.
I could definitely watch this over 20 times, be one of those movies I could fall asleep to.
Yeah.
And put it on and watch it, and yeah, exactly, and have it not get super old. But with saying that, Fight Club and Ready Player One are 2 extremely different movies. There's no the only way that I can relate those 2 is that I would watch them both over and over and over again and be happy with them each time that I watch them.
I like it
So-
because, as a mom of a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old,
Right?
this is something I can watch with my kids that I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, we're watching Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
I feel like they'll like it too, and I feel like it's one of those ones too, I can be like, hey, that's from when I was a kid, well, that kind of thing. I feel like it's just, I don't know, it has the nostalgia to it too.
Yeah.
That I'm super stoked to watch this with my kids.
Yeah. And it was one of those movies, and I'm always happy when this happens. It was one of those movies that's rated T that doesn't feel like it's a rated T movie,
There's an F word in there.
Yeah, I know. They dropped an F word. I was like, oh,
F word?
snap.
One
F word. Yeah, one F word. I was like, oh, snap, they said the F word. And but all the action was super good, and it was just based well because it was in a digital world, and they could get away from the blood and stuff like that. But it was pumped with action, and the action wasn't fake or phony or anything like that. It was good.
Overly done.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Wreck-It Ralph. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I
It's
kept
pretty
thinking
close
of
to the
Wreck-It
same.
Ralph.
Well,
Plot.
it's close to the same plot, yeah, of Wreck-It Ralph, to be honest with you.
Same world, I would say.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
plot was they're gonna shut down the machine, right?
yes.
Okay, yeah, it's a little bit different.
So it's a tad bit different, but
But that's
I
what I was
mean,
kind
The
of
feel is
thinking of.
definitely yeah.
it does. So if you like Wreck-It Ralph, you will love this movie because it's
Wreck-It
Fo-
Ralph 5000.
follows Wreck-It Ralph by a little bit, but it's far more
Yeah.
better. Yeah, far better. So I think I know we were gonna want to talk about spoilers. That's why I was gonna try to keep the beginning rather short. And I think we're good. Is there anything else we want to go into before we hit spoilers? Spoilers.
It's got a pretty good message.
Spoilers. So okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and talk about the first act where they set everything up, and we'll just hit the highlights of it if you want. If you want to go in depth, because I think the third act is where they really get in depth and ideas that they present to the audience. That was super duper cool. But for the first act, why don't you start us off on the first act so I don't talk the whole way through this thing.
The first act is basically, it starts out with Z, and he is going to he's in a van. That's where he does his Oasis thing.
Yeah, it shows off
But,
his life and
shows
that
off
his
his
parents
life,
died.
His
and,
aunt
yeah.
and all that. But basically, everyone lives in stacked trailers, and he lives in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Um,
And what did they say? It was the most booming
growing town or growing city in the United States.
Yeah, it was like
Oh, so
Columbus,
that was the
Ohio
best.
is like booming. Yeah, it was.
that
Well, I was
was
like,
a
really? Okay.
good place to
So that was
be.
interesting.
But they have something in the Oasis that people are searching for this specific Easter egg. That's kind of something we didn't explain in the beginning.
Yeah, because I didn't want to. It's kind of plot. It's kind of
Yeah,
breaking.
because you don't really figure that out.
yeah.
But they're searching for the Easter eggs. If you are to find these 3 keys, you take over the Oasis. You are the king of the Oasis or queen.
Yeah, no, Oasis is essentially the backbone of this new
Yeah.
world's economy.
Yep.
And because of that, like, it's just the world building was really cool. Because a lot of movies about video games, you're like, oh, it's a video game, who cares if they die?
Yeah.
But, like, all of their financial,
Everything.
if they die, they lose big money.
yeah.
So, you know, when people died, it had some weight to it. Whereas if everyone was like, oh, darn it, time to reboot, like, it was like...
The perfect example is when they showed there was a guy who lost everything, was about to jump out the window of
Yep.
the office.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, right in the beginning, there's
Yeah.
some guy playing in like an office building, and he dies, and he throws this thing at us, and he's like running to jump out the window. Yeah. So they did. They made it to where it was like, okay, this is a big deal if you die in this world.
Yep.
And also with that,
It's like your
they
life
had the
savings
labor
is your
camps.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the people that were hooked up to the Oasis that were basically like
Indentured
slaves.
servitude.
Yeah, exactly. They were slaves
To
to like
find
pay
the
off their
Easter
debt.
egg. Well, and they were basically what these people were they were brought on by these companies or to pay their debt of gear or whatever they got in this.
Yeah.
But everyone's thing was to find these Easter eggs to take it over.
Yeah, and so how come they were trying to find the Easter eggs?
They're trying to find the Easter eggs because it was what was the guy's name?
I don't remember
The curator,
yeah, the guy
his last
created
name was
it.
like Middleton or something like that.
Mhm.
The creator of the Oasis.
Yes.
Yep.
He passed away, and he hid 3 keys throughout this whole world, and there were certain things you had to do in order to get these keys. So once you got all 3, the one person achieved winning the Oasis and his everything.
Yeah,
I
they
think it was $1
take
trillion.
control, yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So there were the people that worked for the camps that they called Sixers, and then there were the people that were just trying to find the eggs. I think they called them eggers.
It's like gun. It was
Something like that. That was a little nickname
Something,
for
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
But the whole first act is basically basing it off of that, and then it starts out with the race. That was the first.
In the trailer, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, the race was in the trailer.
Yeah.
And man, that race was super cool.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. It made the chase scenes from Tomb Raider, which we watched last weekend, look like trash.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this race was really, really cool. I mean, the big thing was King Kong at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
CGI was surprisingly good. Like,
yeah.
it was, I don't know, I can't think of a movie that did better CGI in that.
Yes.
Those scenes. Like the avatar of the main character and the main girl, or, you know, they're okay. Like, I think they're meant to not look perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, like, the CGI and, like, the action scenes were absurdly good.
Yeah.
Like the T-Rex and King Kong and all that. It looked really,
Like, it
really
looked like
good.
King Kong straight out of the newest King Kong movie.
It did.
Yeah, it looked amazing. And yeah, and there was just so much cool stuff in there. Like, the female lead role was driving the Tron motorcycle. Like, that was
I think
awesome.
that might be Akira.
Akira?
Akira. It's a Japanese movie. The guy drove a red motorcycle. Very famous.
Oh.
Akira.
Yeah,
you
the
know what?
Tron
You're
one,
right.
yeah.
It was that. No, you're absolutely right. Maybe there was someone else was driving a Tron. I remember
They
seeing the
look
Tron
very similar.
motorcycle.
And
The
I might
Tron
be
ones
wrong,
have
but
like the thinner
Yeah,
wheels with
and they have like the
lights,
glowing
yeah.
lights around it.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken. Maybe it was in there. It was hard because there were so many things
There's a lot
in
of
there. Yeah, it was like, oh, this and that and the other. And yeah, well, there was cool stuff. I mean, the main guy, our main actor, Z, he was driving the DeLorean from
Yeah.
Back to
I
the
love
Future.
that.
Like, that was super cool. Yeah, and it was amazing. That chasing was amazing. Like, that was really,
was
really
cool.
good. Yeah.
And all the keys, like, it was, like, the kids had to be smart too, which is cool. And
Did
there's a little,
anyone notice what the second key was? Anybody? is my favorite.
What it was made of? The
No,
jade,
what
the
it was,
jade,
what
the
the-
jade key.
Yes, you know what that's from.
The jade key.
The Jade.
Oh, what is it?
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, okay.
The
I have
Jade
no
Key
idea.
from-
I thought it was just jade because it was like a sad part of his life. So it was like the
it's
jaded
the Jade Key. It was the Jade Key, but that key itself that was in it is from the movie, or not the movie, the game
The-
Kingdom
the
Hearts.
game
That's
Kingdom
what
Hearts.
that was from.
Well,
Well, I
I
suppose
suppose
the
no,
test
because there's
would
a
be-
crystal key.
Well,
And-
hold on. If it's that way in the book, there's no way it's Kingdom Hearts. Because I'm pretty sure the book.
No, that was
before
not
Kingdom
in the
Hearts.
book, but that was the Kingdom Hearts. The visual of it was from. It wasn't
Oh, like it was straight off.
Yeah, like they just.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
think
gotcha.
it
Oh,
was
that's
like
cool.
but it was just they made it. It was the little key from Kingdom
Oh,
Hearts.
okay.
I just thought that was cute.
Yeah.
That made me happy as a Kingdom.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, there was tons of stuff in there
Just
that were
little
like
things that they modeled like that. Like it's just the things that's it. But I just thought that was so cool that it was like they just took little things like that. Like it wasn't like they're saying like this is, but it was just like
Like,
anybody
oh, is
that.
that the Kingdom Hearts?
No,
game?
yeah, it was just like anybody that
Right.
could catch that. I like it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I like that a lot. That made
Yeah.
me happy.
And so with the race and whoever wins the race, it was really cool because it was like that with all the keys. And I don't think we really need to explain how it happens with every single key.
Nah, it's better seen.
It's way better seen. Like even though this is spoiler section, like I don't even really want to spoil that because it was so cool.
Yeah, seeing them figure it out is like
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
cool part of the movie.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
all based on lessons on like what a good ruler should be, and it was really taking lessons from the creator of the Oasis life on things that he failed and things that he wished he would have done better, and all these were lessons.
Yeah.
That was like, okay, if this person's going to be good enough to take over and control the Oasis, they need to be better than me and learn the lessons that I didn't necessarily learn.
Yeah.
And it was very, very cool. Like I enjoyed that a lot. With all the aspects of the keys and learning the lessons and big life mistakes that you might have made, and if you could
Yeah.
change, you could go back and things like that.
Yeah, and it's all very like normal life lessons. Nothing too.
Nothing
No,
weird.
no one's even gonna be like, nah, I don't know about that. It's like follow your heart.
Yes,
a little bit more
exactly.
detail, but like I said, we're not trying to.
Living
give
with the
away.
regrets, or
Yeah.
not living with regrets,
Yeah.
and having being brave, and it's all very generic
Yeah.
type lessons that everyone can relate to.
I liked how weird the creator was.
I know, and the creator was very awkward and
Yeah.
weird, and
The most awkward.
I would feel like
Yeah.
if someone was so intelligent and so in tune with making that world of the Oasis, they would be a complete weirdo.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and I liked his character a lot. Yeah, and his avatar was super cool.
So yeah, it's like Gandalf.
Yeah,
That was
it-
so awesome.
When I first heard this movie, the one holdback I had was, how is there going to be an evil corporation that cares enough to do this video game stuff? And that's just one thing I want to mention is like the world does such a good job at justifying the gravity of the game that it's completely believable that there'd be some huge Apple type business trying to just play the game, trying to win because the game is the economy. It's not like the game has one. It's people. There's one part of the movie that says our stocks are down, but the corporate guy's like, yeah, but our game money is going up. So who cares about the hardware?
I know, that was
Yeah,
so
I was like,
crazy.
oh, shit.
Like, wow, okay.
Okay. And like after that scene, I was like, okay, I understand.
Yeah, yep. No, big time. That was like, oh, wow, it's that big of a deal. Like, they always said it's big deal. And then, yeah, that scene where he was like, no, I don't care if we're losing money. Like, our in-game money is up higher than it's been.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep doing this. I was like, oh my god.
Cryptocurrency got crazy.
Yeah, that cryptocurrency is a big deal in this world. So, yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah.
And so, he meets the girl in the first act and everything like that, and we get the whole them figuring out the key aspect, and that's one thing that I like about this movie too, is the acts are completely separated by the keys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very defined, and the moment that they get the one key and they move on to the second key, that's the transition into the next act.
Yeah.
So it was nice. I mean, everything in threes, like I'm super okay with that.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, the supporting, we didn't talk about the supporting actors, but because they were all good, there's nothing to complain about.
No.
Yeah, they're
H
all at
was
the same
amazing.
level of B plus.
Yes, exactly.
His little best friend H, I absolutely love that character.
Yeah, the character was
so
super
much.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much.
She gets an A.
She definitely, she gets an A minus.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
adore that character.
Yeah. And so, and then moving in to the second act, is when they're finding the jade key, and
My favorite. That was
yeah, that
the
was
best
very, very good.
scene
And I
ever.
think the big highlight of it, because they go to different areas within the second part of the act, but for sure I felt the best was
Hold on. So, a lot of the big part of that scene was not knowing that they were gonna do it.
yes.
Mhm.
You know what?
I don't know, man. That was I think I would not enjoy the movie as much if I knew that they were gonna do that.
You know what? I think you're right. Even though this is the spoiler section,
Like it's.
I
so
don't
good.
want it. It's too good. Yeah, it's too good to spoil that part.
Yeah.
We're bad at spoiler sections for this movie because it was so good. You're right.
I think that's like the one thing I don't want to spoil.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
amazing.
No, that was super good.
That's like a Caddyshack guy, Bill Murray showing up in Zombieland.
Yeah, that's
Like-
something you
like
just
I was
don't
like-
want to give up.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you knew he was coming in, it wouldn't be nearly as
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, or good.
Or like when Tom Cruise was in that Tropic
You're bad at
Thunder.
this.
Nobody knew Tom Cruise was in the Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
until-
yeah.
yeah.
No, you're right. So yeah, there's a really cool part in the second act that made the movie stand out so much for I think all of us.
Yeah,
It was like, oh my
wait,
gosh,
what?
what's
No.
happening?
I can tell you,
Yeah.
everybody in that theater was just like, oh my
No,
god.
I think you're right. Yeah,
like, I'm
everyone was
pretty
like,
sure.
oh wow, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Like this is super cool.
It was so
And
good.
they made it creepy and they made it funny
Yeah.
because of H's character
Yes.
with never seeing it before and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, so we'll skip over
We'll
that
stop
part.
that right now.
Even though there's a spoiler section, we don't care. We're not spoiling that
No.
part.
It's too
No,
good.
it was too good. It was too
way
good.
too good.
So, and then also within the second act is when they kind of start getting into the real world a little bit more, and just how dirty this corporation is that they're willing to like kill people
Yeah.
in real life to get, because like you said, a lot's at stake. It's like a $500 billion, $500 million
No,
real life dollars.
Trillion.
So
real
there's a
life.
And then
scene-
control?
There's a scene where like the creator's saying what you get with the egg. He's like, and the winner will get $1 trillion. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
that
like,
was funny.
the winner of the contest gets $1 trillion. So how much is this company worth?
Right?
Maybe that is the whole thing, but yeah, $1 trillion, like a lot.
A lot. Life changing. So,
Amazing.
Yeah, the second.
Oh.
Are we in the second one?
yeah,
So the second, third.
third. Well, I think we're done with the second.
Yeah, because
Is there anything
It
else
was
in the
slower, but like it needed to be. It was romantic. Made him care. Didn't care at all about the girl until that.
Yeah, well, they kill his family. Yeah, they
No,
kill.
that was super near the beginning.
No, that was
That was
like beginning of the second.
That was like, I feel like that was like a big transitional part from the first to the second.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when like shit gets serious. Like, okay, like, wow, okay, he thinks he's falling in love, things are changing, and then his family gets blown up and like, okay, everything's different.
Okay.
And then they find out that there's the rebellion, and the rebellion takes them, and it's like all that.
Yeah, you got it.
You know,
Yeah.
And one thing, like mentioning the rebellion, since I think we might be, is there anything big that I'm missing in the second act? Or do you think we covered it all?
Well, you can't really say the big.
Besides the big thing that we don't want to spoil. It was awesome. But speaking of like the rebellion and like the company, I thought it was really cool that they set that up because like like the last big fight scene like super reminded me of Star Wars with like the big walking machines. I was like, yeah. They reminded me of the AT-ATs, the ATSTs. No, the AT-ATs are the little walkers. I'm talking about the big ones, the four
One's the
foot
AT-AT,
ones.
one's the ATST. Or Imperial Walker.
The Imperial Walker. Yeah, the Imperial Walker. I was like, oh, this is super cool. Like it kind of reminded me a little bit of The Empire Strikes Back, but I think a little bit more of like episode
like
2.
a wall of death. Like,
Yeah, it was good.
it was-
So yeah, into the third act.
Second act. End of the second act.
Or into the third act.
Oh, into.
Into the third act. The hot wings don't just mess with you
Yeah.
talking; they mess with you hearing too, because they're brutal. Sarah's literally eaten one.
It hurts. It hurts.
I'm over the hill.
I know, I got them all. We're
You guys are
clear.
better
We're in the
people.
clear.
You're better people than me.
Oh,
No, not really.
Yeah, you're right. But so into the third act. Oh wow! Like where to start with the third act?
I think
Because
it
there's
starts with him meeting up all his in-game friends.
Yeah, that's the start of the third act for sure. So okay, there we go. Yeah, him meeting up with all of his friends in the game and getting them in real life, and having just that real big weight of both worlds happening at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, when the corporate guy sends his like attack dog in the real world, like basically go kill these kids.
Yeah.
You know, and it's suspenseful. Yeah, the third act is very suspenseful. You know, you feel a lot of weight, you feel a lot of emotion behind it with the characters.
But it's
And-
real.
You definitely are feeling that there is a real threat going on, and they did a good job with having you connect with the characters where you like cared about the third act. I know I was like, oh my gosh, and in the third act, in the last huge fight scene when they rally all the players in the world against all the players in the company, the corporate company that they're fighting against. There was just so many awesome things. I think my 3 favorite little cameo appearances of things, and these are all going to be weapons because I thought they were super awesome. But there was a point when Olivia Cookie's character is using the gun from Aliens, the Marine rifle from Aliens. And that was super cool. And then for a quick second, she was using the chainsaw gun from Gears of War. And I want to say it was her. It was happening. All of it was happening. It was a really good action scene. A lot was happening. And
if you were paying attention, you would have noticed anything.
Exactly.
That's one of the good things. It has a ton of cameos, but it doesn't shove it in your face. You're like, you either see it or you don't. The plot's going on without you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and like someone was using the railgun from Halo.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But what were your? What
Mine
some
was
of
the
your
Iron
cameos?
Giant. That was awesome, and I just liked it in H's workshop or whatever. He just starts pulling out all these miniature. One was the Death Star, or wasn't it the Death Star he pulled out?
That was the Battlestar Galactica
Okay,
ship
that's what,
and
then
something else.
Yeah.
He was working on it, and the thing that I thought was cool is that when they work on these things, it makes it miniature, and he works on them and then makes them bigger.
Yeah, it's really
I thought
cool.
that
Yeah,
was
like even the
cool.
cars. We didn't talk about it. Even the cars. They're like it's basically very.
Like a
It's
Hot
like
Wheel.
Like,
yeah, and they're like and they throw it, and then like it digitally gets larger, and then surfaces itself out. It was really cool how they did that.
Like I want to
man.
see another. I want to see a sequel. I want to see.
I do too.
Like I want to see like.
what
He had a bunch of spaceships. Are we going to space?
Yeah, serious, right? Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
to kind of see what their struggles would be after they took it over. too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always something.
Oh, there's always something. They could definitely do. I hope they do a second one because this movie deserves a second one. If they, they can
They just
write
take
it well
the
and pull it
plot.
off.
Yeah.
Just take the plot from Sword Art Online. It'll be fun. Just
It'd be
make it so the
very fun.
visors kill people and they can't. I don't know.
There we go. But yeah, it was super good. And I think the only real problem that I had with the movie was when the bad guy, he like totally bitches out with killing them. I was like, wow,
It didn't make
really?
sense.
You're gonna go that whole way, and then because like he finally gets the egg of power.
Yeah, it showed
And
like
and you can see it glowing on his suit because they're in real life, and for some reason it's reflecting. That's the first time that happened.
Yeah.
Like something in the game world is like reflecting onto the suit. Besides like when they get hit and they feel pain.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
like
but
this was
remember
glowing.
when she was touching him, when he was feeling joy?
Yeah,
he was
no,
turning
you're
gold,
right.
he was
So
holding
there was
it
some
and-
things
yeah, okay.
that
Yeah.
his suit would shine.
So
if
he was
some
like
things
holding it,
happened.
feeling joy, and his hands.
Yeah, okay.
But it was
But-
reflecting in his.
But yeah, I thought that was weird. Like the guy gets the gun and he goes
Yeah,
there,
right.
and like all the people are like, we're gonna stop you. Then he pulls the gun out, and like the 180 people that are standing there,
with
like,
the
oh god, a
handgun.
pistol! We better get out of this guy's way. And they part the seas like
Yeah.
Moses, as he goes to their van, and then he opens the van and he goes to kill the kid.
And for some reason,
And for some reason, he has an epiphany, and he doesn't. I'm like, this guy's been an asshole
Yeah.
the whole movie, and then all of a sudden, like, I thought he was gonna like.
wound him.
I thought he was gonna ready up, and
Yeah.
someone in the crowd was gonna tackle him, and he was like gonna get him in the shoulder or something.
Yeah.
And that's what I was really expecting. But then when he's like, oh, and then the cop comes and he just gives up, I was like, dude, you put a lot of effort in here just to bitch out at the end.
Well, it's not good, but like throughout the movie, they kept on showing that he was afraid of doing dirty work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not.
So it
I
wasn't.
don't like it, but like it makes sense.
Yeah, like it's.
But I wish like he was just like, I've had enough, and then so just bash him over the head with a baseball bat or something like
That would've been great.
Yeah, that would have been
Yeah.
super awesome.
Apparently, no one in the slums has any kind of weapon.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, they're in the hood. Like, this is the ghetto. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh shit, this guy's a pistol. We better get out of his way.
Yeah.
It was like, it was weird. That part was just weird to me.
Yeah.
And it sucked because the weirdest part in the movie was like at the climax of the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. But I don't
I'll
know.
let it go. I was just like,
I mean,
okay, cool,
with
whatever.
that, with that one issue that I have, everything else is so awesome. It really outweighs it to where I'm like, I don't care. I want to watch this again, and again and again.
But why?
So-
Why do our main characters not want the corporation to take over?
Because they were abusing. They were putting the people in the camps. Because like her
Yeah.
dad died in the labor camp, the
Yeah.
virtual labor camp, however
Yeah.
that works.
And it showed them, like, when
So-
she was in there, they showed the guy who was, like, about to pass out. They're like, you think if you
Yeah,
pass
and they
out,
were
we don't
like-
get any money from you. Well,
Did you notice
Yeah.
like the ad, like the main guy's business plan in front of like his board of directors was a screen showing like, all right, it says we can cover 80% of the player's vision with ads without causing a seizure. And
Oh,
we just
God.
saw it, and like the gamer in me just had the biggest cringe, like, oh god.
Yeah, that was super funny. Like that was so perfect how they put that in there. Because I feel like that's a real threat.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to war.
Right? Yeah, that was super funny. Yeah, we could.
I'm Spartacus, you know.
I remember laughing at that part because he was like, "Oh yeah, we could do it this much," until they start having a seizure.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, it was so painful to see.
Yeah, how that really happens in
Yeah.
the boardroom with the ads and games. It made me hate the corporation.
Yeah.
Just that one line.
Like
His avatar made me hate the corporation. Like, how?
Oh!
If there's a way to make an avatar look like a complete fucking asshole.
His avatar was one of the best ones. When I saw his avatar, I was like, "That's dope
That
as
guy is
shit."
dick
That was
right there.
super-
big old
And then-
muscly corporate guy.
Yeah, just like a big with a suit on and a tie,
Yeah.
just
Super
ripped.
rippling
I like how his eye color changed though. Like when
Yeah.
he was just chilling, talking, it was blue, but when he would start getting angry, it turned to like gold.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, that's super cool. All the avatars, like I don't think there was one avatar, and it was cool because the avatars had tons of cameos too. There was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I mean, there was.
There was the Joker at one point. Did you
Yeah,
see the
Yeah,
Joker?
yeah, and there was a Harley Quinn,
Yeah.
and there was just tons. There's tons of little cameos or Easter eggs, whatever you want to call them, and it was so much fun
Yeah.
just seeing all these little things just
It was
pop up
fun.
here and there. I was like, oh my
And the
gosh.
music in it as well.
And I was never
enjoyed
like,
the
oh
music.
god, another
Yep.
cameo.
Yeah.
Which I was very surprised.
They
I
didn't
was
do that
surprised,
stupid
too.
overly focus on
Yeah.
them, which I find it on your own.
Yep,
like,
they were
oh,
just
where's
there.
Waldo,
Yeah,
kind
I
of.
liked it a lot.
Yep.
I liked it.
No, it was very good. Yeah, like you said, the soundtrack
Yeah.
was on
Like,
point.
it was a lot of 80s music.
Yeah,
A
well,
lot.
it should be. It's a pop culture
Well,
movie.
it's
yeah,
video games,
yeah, and
too.
video games and movies and stuff, and
So I think the book was based on, like, it was retro, but it was retro for its time, so there was,
Yeah.
like, Pac-Man and stuff.
yeah,
So, like, I liked how they went, like, retro for us is, like,
Mhm.
Halo, which is pretty damn close.
It is.
Like, I haven't played a Halo game since, like, Halo 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that
So-
makes me feel old.
yeah, and I know I'm trying my best not to be biased with this movie because
Yeah.
I'm a big movie buff and a video game nerd and like all that stuff, and I personally do not think that I'm being biased towards this movie in any way just because it appeals to all the things that I like.
Yeah.
You know, like I do want to emphasize that it was very well structured. You know, that the pacing was great. It was so good that it didn't feel like we were in the movie theater for the running time of the movie. It felt like it was a shorter time period than that. You know, I know the people that were sitting next to us were a little older and they were having a blast watching it.
Oh, they were
Yeah.
just as loud.
So,
as me.
oh yeah, they were like, oh, look at that, look at this.
I feel
so,
like somebody could take someone that didn't necessarily have the love of video
Yeah.
games and things like this, and they could still like it.
yeah,
like,
well, it's
The fourth
entertainment
person we went
culture. Yeah, right?
that-
Yeah, the fourth person.
She liked it.
Yeah,
Yep.
she hates video games. She does not care about it. She hates video games and what they do to me. But she loved the movie. So if you don't know the cameos, like
Yeah.
if you have any kind of passing, like, oh, I recognize that thing. You know,
No,
she had
I-
one or two of those, and then
Mhm.
she just liked the movie. So I think, and even if you're not a huge video game nerd,
Yeah, well, they
Real
did so
big.
well in touching on so much pop culture. Like, you'd have to be in a coma for the last 20 years not to see at least 50 references.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so, I mean, it
Anime,
definitely appeals.
video
Yeah,
games.
and,
Yes.
oh, dude, when one of the supporting guys went to fight, because the main bad guy, he turns into Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla, thank you. And he fights him as Guardian.
Guardian.
I almost lost my shit, the Gungan.
Gundam.
Gundam.
How do you know the name of the Gundam, but you can't say Gundam?
I don't know. That's how I roll. I make up my own words.
Yeah, that was great.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
I love that. So,
Yeah, that was
do we
super
want to
cool.
go to like our favorite little cameo? Because that was mine.
Dude, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was super. Yeah, go for it because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's this scene where like everyone's fighting and Iron Giant's getting messed up and they're like, "Buddy, what are you doing?" And he's just sitting there quiet, like meditating. And you're like, "God, we need your help." And then all of a sudden he jumps out. He's like, "Form of a Gundam." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then it goes. He kind of like transforms as a giant Gundam, and it was. They even did like a little freeze frame of him.
yeah,
Where like there's gold background, like it looks super anime.
it did.
But
Did
then like
anyone
afterwards
touch
it went back to the normal CGI, which is still really good.
hmm
But it was super cool.
That-
And it wasn't like everyone's got crazy stuff. He could only do it for like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Whereas like Mechagodzilla was like a permanent thing.
hmm
Did anyone touch the Hadouken?
I did.
That
That was
was
super
that
funny
was
too.
like,
I was like, get out of here! He's fighting him and goes, "Oh, you can blast him with
If
the
there was
Caillou."
ever a time, anything, I would want something to come out of a video game I could do to somebody, and it would like
Yeah,
can do that.
that was there was-
That's what I want in life. Fuck seeing through things. I don't want to read minds. I want to do that
You want an Hadouken?
all the time.
It was so good. Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one too.
Goku shouldn't be in this movie.
No.
It would just be like unless the big bad was Goku and then everyone else died anyways because he's
Right? Yeah.
They're measuring. DBZ's crazy, man. They can't even stop at God.
No, they
They're like
can't.
God plus 2.
Right?
What was it? Faith plus 1.
I think so. Yeah. Oh yeah, they don't know how to stop.
It was awesome.
But
Right.
anyways,
Yeah, there was just there was so many. Like I said, we could talk about all the awesome stuff in this movie for hours.
yeah.
So to
wrap
close
it
it out,
up.
to wrap it up, put it in a box and wrap it with a bow. I would say definitely see it in theaters. Like it was so good, and even if you haven't seen it and you watch the spoilers for some crazy reason, go see it in theaters. It's worth your time. It's
Visually,
worth
you can't
the
spoil
$14.
I would even like IMAX it. If you're
Oh,
going to see
yeah.
it this year, this is the IMAX.
You know what?
movie.
I think that we might have to do that next weekend.
Okay.
Is just go see it in IMAX.
Yeah, like.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's definitely an IMAX worthy watch. And it's amazing.
Yeah, that's good.
And it was, I feel like the wings weren't as hot because I'm so happy for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I called there and cried.
I watched a little Gundam. I really like the figures.
Yeah.
I recognize
Yeah,
it from the
the
figures. Like when it just was attacking them in the car, he was like, throw it outside! Fuck that movie. It was so good.
Are we gonna end this a certain way?
Oh, that's already over, I think.
No, you're gonna get a good 10 minutes of me trying not to vomit. My stomach is too full. I ate the one hot.
I know.
Yeah, you're gonna
You
get
don't
like.
want to eat the honey barbecue one? These are
My
super good.
stomach hurts. I mean, there was Star Wars, but it was Star Wars. It wasn't like.
Yeah, I like Star Wars.
Yeah,
I
this was
liked it, but this
original,
was like something
Yeah, you want to
different.
hit the record button on it and off for me?
Yeah, since Star Wars. Yeah. No, Star Wars Rogue One.
Yeah.
That's because I do want to go see that in IMAX.
You know, I think that might have been the best movie I've seen this year. And last year.
Dude,
right?
Maybe the year
Yeah.
before that.
Yeah. What else do they make? Not the T-Rex. Yeah? You needed your buddy bone on that one?